from Lagos to Abuja, Kano to Kaduna, Jigawa to Jos, and from Jos to Maiduguri, from Maiduguri to Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt to Anambra, from Awka, the capital of Anambra, to Asaba in Delta State. It was gloom all around yesterday night at about 10:35 p.m. Nigerian time. Why? The Super Eagles of Nigeria had lost to the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, on penalties, and the World Cup dream was up in flames. My name is Shegun Odunwayo. Welcome you to Point Sports Extra, the online version, and I have with me here Abiodun Adewale here in the house. How was yesterday night for you, wherever you are watching from?
Yeah, well, agonizing. Heartbreak would have been modest, because heartbreak would have felt like, okay, we were up there, maybe we were cheated out. But then, from start to finish, we endured. It was a night to endure.
We endured the night,
and eventually, it didn't end well. Eventually, so it was not surprising to see the body language or even some of our players. They probably knew, okay, see, whichever way it ends, we've done this, we've done that, and all that. So it's just that it's Nigerians now, and some of them too, who would have to live with the pain, especially when the World Cup starts in the US, Mexico, and Canada next year. And we'll begin to wonder again, it's another World Cup without Nigeria. Meaning by the time we return in 2030, it will have been 12 years since the last time we played at the World Cup. That is not the kind of story you want to tell about Nigerian football. It's the first time we are missing a back-to-back World Cup. It's never been this bad.
Since we qualified
in 1994.
All right, we'll be starting with the front page of Point Sports Extra, the print edition, like we always do every time. We'll be coming back to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I know a lot of persons want to talk about them. Please drop your comments wherever you are watching from, and perhaps towards the end of the show, we'll just read a couple of them. But moving on very quickly, one of the members of that team yesterday, Chrysanthus Uche, who is on loan at Crystal Palace, is said to be being pushed out by Palace in January. This is interesting. I know how much they fought for this guy to come over from La Liga.
Yeah.
He came on board, made a couple of appearances, and then got dropped to the bench again. And we thought perhaps he would, get introduced into the team as time goes on. He's actually on loan. It wasn't a full and proper sale. And now we are hearing that Palace don't want him in January.
And it's surprising that in the clause of the loan, there is a clause that says they had the option to buy him for about 20 million euros. So I wonder what they were thinking of while negotiating this deal, and I wonder what they saw eventually. But in all of this, I feel for this guy, Chrysanthus Uche, because in Spain he had his rhythm going very well. Now he's derailed. If he goes back, maybe by January or at the end of the season, he would have to start all over again in the La Liga. He might tick, maybe with time, but then it's as good as starting again. Then you wonder what's all the gloom, what's all the buzz about the English Premier League, because the three of the deals we saw that involved Nigerians in the last summer transfer window, none of them has been able to tick at their respective
Samuel Chukwueze,
and Chrysanthus Uche. So to what effect eventually? So if you rather go back and restart your career all over again, why not?
All right, still sticking with the front page of Point Sports Extra. Another Nigerian player wasn't part of the squad yesterday. Bashiru is said to be dividing opinions in Lazio. Lazio wants this, and Maurizio Sarri wants that. Biodun, quick one.
Yeah, Maurizio Sarri has not hidden his opinion about Dele Bashiru since he came. Good player. They know why they got him from Atayaspor in Turkey. He played 2 seasons with them. But then, if you compare it, he's not been on that level that he was in Atayaspor, but not a bad player still. Maybe Sarri wasn't convinced the first day, maybe from the first day he came he arrived on the job, he wasn't really convinced and all of that. He expressed in his opinion about the player, but the club sees certain potential about him too. But what we understand is that pushing Fisayo Dele Bashiru maybe out of the team is not basically because of maybe his surplus to the requirement. Of course, for them to have pushed him out, they probably have someone who would definitely fill in. But it's one of the reasons, it's one of their ways of generating funds and for the club. But then the sporting director feels differently. But Mauricio Sarri says it is so. Well, but then if it is the coach that is talking, then you know, what else can the player do? It's the one who makes the call, is the one who does the selection and all of that. So if the coach is saying he's surplus to requirement, then he's
surplus to requirement.
The club has to find a way.
While the likes of Victor Osimhen and Wilfred in the D and other Super Eagles players were feeling dejected over the weekend, for someone like Erling Haaland and his colleagues there in Norway, it was Viva World Cup 2026. Yes, they are going to be at the FIFA World Cup in America, Canada, and Mexico next year. And Haaland has been able to take his country to that top. Remember, the last time around, they didn't qualify for the World Cup. But now, he has been able to make his team qualify. Quick one. Good.
Perfect run for Haaland. Before yesterday, he had scored 14 of their goals in that qualifier. I think he scored 2 last night.
Yesterday.
Quite instrumental for to their run. It's the first time they will be going to the World Cup since 1998. I feel whichever way too, they have Italy to... they have themselves to thank for beating Italy 3-0.
Sending Italy to the qualifiers.
In the first game. And in fact, as a matter of fact, if they had even lost the first game, which they won 3-0 to Italy, beating Italy yesterday was as good as getting the job done. So it's top mentality for them to have beaten a team like in disarray though, because Italy too, in the last 2 World Cups, they've not been there as well. So they have to go through the World Cup to the playoffs route now. And imagine what General Gattuso is already saying, that maybe Africa has too much slots for the World Cup. It doesn't even affect Europe. Europe has about 16 direct qualifiers.
What's his business with Africa?
So what's his business with Africa? So your team is in shambles. Fix your team and focus on your own national team. But for Erling Haaland and Norway, top mentality. That's one of he's the best striker in the world. You definitely want to see.
Strand who scored yesterday. I mean, while Odegaard is injured, it was Haaland who was holding the captain's band. And you just look at that Norwegian side. There's this other guy, Solot, too, plays for Norway.
For Atletico
Madrid. There's Strand of Wolves. There's, of course, Erling Haaland. So up front, it's a killer. In the middle, they have Odegaard in his feet. Always brilliant. Perhaps their defense.
They have Norgard too. The Brentford guy.
No, Norgard plays for Denmark.
Okay, Denmark.
Not Norway. They are you know, of the same group there. But you know, with those guys up front, perhaps any defense in the World Cup should be scared.
They should be scared. If you are facing Ireland, you should really be scared. And that's one of the things that we saw throughout the qualifiers. A man scoring 16 out of the goals that his team scored you definitely should be. In City's, take it to the club level, in City's poorest season, he still found a way to stand out among them. So he's just born to do that.
All right, still talking about the World Cups. Yesterday, when Nigeria couldn't make it, there was a post from Ghana's social media handler, the Ghanaian team. They had a picture of Antoine Semenyo wearing their jersey. Wearing a white cloth with qualified on it. Antoine Semenyo is being watched by some of the biggest clubs in the world, including Manchester City. Remember that guy is having a very wonderful season so far. Even last season, when people were saying Semenyo should leave, everybody's leaving Bournemouth. Perhaps it's time for you to leave. Somehow, their manager found a way to still keep that club ticking, and Semenyo is indeed in charge this time around. But Semenyo may be on his way out, and the citizens want him.
He's in the mix between Manchester City, Liverpool. And maybe one of the top EPL club. To me, Brentford are still looking compact, but Semenyo looks to me like the last part of the jigsaw in that team. Take him out of there, they might be done.
We said the same when a couple of guys left, Kekes, Osimhen to Madrid, Kekes to Liverpool. They sold about 4 major guys.
Of course. But then, if you take this one out, especially from the middle, it becomes a little bit difficult to replace. I've not seen too many games. I've not seen 2 games this season that they've played without Semenyo and really try very, except for Justin Kluivert
has not really been in form. Even Evan Nielsen has not been.
Who has not really been in form too. So those are the only guys that I feel can also step up to the plate in the absence of Semenyo. But if you take out Semenyo, it might just be the end. But then at this point too, I think he has played up to a level that if he is wanted by those teams too, if the interests are very genuine and if the clubs are in agreement.
City or Liverpool, where do you think they should go if it comes down to those two choices?
I think City are very studied at the moment, especially in the middle and transitioning into attack. Maybe a team where we need, especially because players like Florian Wirtz are not getting into their rhythm. Maybe it might just come
better to go to Liverpool. All right, still talking about the front page of Points Plus Extra, the print version. Marcus Rashford is said to be wanted by Chelsea, and that, you know, we all know that Barcelona might not have the funds to get him in the summer. He's on loan from Manchester United, but Chelsea is said to want the English man.
From what we understand, it is to unsettle Alejandro Garnacho. It's a shocking move, but then when it comes to transfers, Chelsea think in ways that you cannot imagine.
At all.
And they spend, if they will spend eventually, they will spend in ways that you cannot imagine. They went all out for Jadon Sancho, but then eventually they couldn't put the money down to tie him down to a permanent deal. What did they do instead? They still brought Alejandro Garnacho too, who is also still coming in, delivering once in a while.
Well, that was on a permanent deal.
Exactly. Yeah. But now they said they want, from the reports we saw too, what they say they want to do is unsettle Alejandro Garnacho. Maybe he's too comfortable, maybe he feels he's not rival, but then bringing Marcus Rashford, MBE, from Barcelona, who is enjoying perhaps the best season of his career in Spain, bringing him. I don't think that guy will want to return to England though, because the only return I see for him will probably be at Manchester United. I don't think it will be to a rival club, except that the money is good and he definitely doesn't want to have any
survival, because he left for Villa,
exactly.
And then Villa wasn't going to buy him, and he was like, I've always wanted, but he wanted Barcelona even that time. I'll play for Barcelona even for free, because he needed to be up there, you know. And he got it, and he's doing well with them. And then now he's thinking about the future, and he's probably thinking, these guys won't buy me. Barcelona are too broke at the moment to buy anybody for any humongous amount. Why not just, you know, go to a club like Chelsea?
Teams, yeah.
All right, still moving on now. While everybody, countries were having qualifiers, some friendly games, he was only staying at his club because his country was playing at the stadium of his club. And guess what? While he was on international duty at home at his club pitch, he got injured. And he's supposed to be one of the perfect guys for Mikel Arteta's formation this season. And at a time when everybody is saying Arsenal is in great form and they are doing well, one of them has gotten injured again. Perhaps time may never come for Mikel Arteta and his men. Gabriel is injured.
I hope it doesn't disrupt the rhythm, the tempo that they've built from the start of the season. We'll get to find out the length of that injury
soonest.
Soonest. And
but most likely some weeks.
We hope it's not really bad.
And then, you know, this period, November, December, where you'll be playing. Oh my goodness.
But as long as they survive this period too, they might just be making their way to the
this period?
With this injury, I hope they don't get another one. It compounds things greatly, and it makes it difficult for them to adjust to life. Especially that they've done business so much in the summer that I'm not sure.
They have guys on the bench.
They have exactly. So they have guys too who might step up, but their defense has been something that you can hardly. Anybody hardly puts a foot wrong there, especially when they are fit. But when they are not, it becomes a problem. So let's see how things go for Arsenal with that injury. Let's hope it's not too bad.
All right, that'll be all from us from the front page of Points Plus Extra, the print version. We just gave you a scoop into what you will be finding on at the front page. Just go out there, get a copy from your vendor, have a great read. Let's move fully now into what went down yesterday in Marrakesh, Morocco. It's been coming for a while. If we are being honest, we couldn't take the top slot in our group. Qualified eventually on the last day through a miracle, courtesy of a hat-trick from Victor Osimhen. And that man that scored yesterday, Frank Onyeka. In fact, it was Onyeka's goal that indeed sealed qualification through the back door. And I've been saying it on this show that we are trying to find a way to get into the World Cup via the qualifiers, which is the back door. I think FIFA created that window for small teams that perhaps won't be able to make it to the World Cup directly to come in. But some big boys are trying to take advantage of that door that was open for kids, in quotes now. DRC, the perfect example of a kid country that does not qualify for the World Cup since 1975 when they were bearing the name Zaire.
Yeah.
I think they sure deserve to make it to the World Cup. And they have quite a couple of big names there. Twanzembe, Aaron Wan-Bissaka,
Chancel
Mbemba, this striker
injured
that gave us this sweet meme on Twitter that touched that trophy and walked past it. What's his name again? I can't remember his name at the moment. Of course, like Biodun said, he injured Wissa, who got injured playing for his country.
Yeah.
At the time, he was signing a major deal. He has now not played a single game for them, and Newcastle fans are actually very angry. But that's another kettle of fish entirely. But what went wrong yesterday for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? After dispatching Gabon a couple of days ago, we thought perhaps let's go past Gabon. But the spirit of football and the god of soccer said no.
It said no, but then I think the handwriting has been on the wall. Gabon was supposed to be easy, isn't it? But then it didn't come easy. You know, when you talk about leaving things late, what we call fire brigade approach in our parlance here, it has hardly worked for anyone. And that is what we have just seen. Why didn't we even qualify directly? That's one topic that we've trashed over and over again. But now we had a second chance through the playoffs. The first thing that we heard, maybe just when we think that morale was high, everybody was in high spirit, then we just heard some NLC SQ thing from the Super Eagles camp. We are not going to train because we are hold allowances. Then different narratives started popping up. They've actually been
I was saying that day we played against Gabon that we're not going to talk about that because it was in the past. But now that we are where we are, how did we even land in such murky waters?
It's lack of, not lack of, because basically we know we've always lacked, but then it's just our basic problem of not doing things the way. There's so much anyhowness in the way we do things in such a way that people don't even want to stand up to their responsibilities any longer. And as a matter of fact, in this case, there is enough blame to go around because from what I saw yesterday, from every player, even from those on the bench, from those that started in the starting 11 to those on the bench, there is enough blame to go around to everyone, to the technical crew, to the administrators who were on some kind from Jamboree in Morocco. We had not even qualified for the World Cup yet. Maybe some of the videos I saw were not even supposed to surface on the internet, but then it eventually did, and you begin to wonder what Nigerian officials were doing in such mood at such a crucial time for the national team. But then what are we even doing in the dressing room of a team, handing out cash to players when you did not even pay them the basic bonuses and allowances for the matches you were supposed to, but you were promising them thousands of dollars for goals scored in a game. So it's absurd the way we've approached this entire thing. Maybe some people will be glad that this whole thing boomeranged because it's been a very tough time for the Nigeria Football Federation too, dragging here and there because of the smallest things that football administrators should take care of, from the saga about the mini stadium in Benin and Delta to the qualifiers properly to our age grade football and everything. So it's a very difficult time for the Nigeria Football Federation. So and it calls for everything that has happened in Nigerian football, from removing the Super Falcons, everything that has happened in the Nigerian football system in 2025 calls for some deep dive, some deep dive.
Committees.
Putting it in the hand of committees is doing it the Nigerian way still. So it still wouldn't give us the desired result. It calls for some deep dive investigations, some deep dive probing.
Going on?
What is going on beneath that people don't know? How can we not? And let's even leave the administrators aside. Players too. How can one player not play in 5 games and it suddenly becomes a problem for us? He was in the final game. He was in the perhaps the most important game that will take us to the next level too. He played 45 minutes. In the next 45 minutes, he wasn't there, and there was nothing anybody could just spring up. It was very uncharacteristic. very uncharacteristic of a national team that should be among the best in Africa. That it looks like a even outside of Africa, we are like a standard bearer. Everybody talks about Nigeria here and there, and you begin to wonder if the national team plays this way, then you won't want to blame those who say, what are we even going to do at the World Cup? You wouldn't want to blame them, because people will question it, okay, what are we going to do at the World Cup? But we know we've always been there, and we've competed, even against teams that are far better than us. We've competed and lost honorably. Argentina has never beaten us 2-0 at the World Cup. It's either 1-0, 1-0, 3-2, and it's always been like that, 2-1. So we've always been able to muzzle our way in. But then, what do we get for all of these things? We just keep going around circles, the qualifiers, the World Cup proper, and everything. But now, I think at this point that we are, everybody needs to come back again and think of and begin to ask themselves questions, probe themselves before even an official probe begins into whatever that has happened.
What went wrong after the first 45 minutes? Victor Osimhen went out of that game. They say injured, but I guess injured too. And it didn't look like we were playing a game.
Even before halftime, before Victor was pulled out injured, it was kind of difficult for us. We got a goal as early as the 3rd minute of the game. It was quick. But you need to look at the composure of the DR Congo team. They kept playing.
Yeah.
Got the equalizer and put us under pressure straight away from there. So you needed that kind of spirit that our opponents had in that game to stay alive in that kind of game. It wasn't there. So it became so glaring that even someone had to tell me where I was watching that, okay, it seems Victor Osimhen has really been marked out. And I told him, see, Osimhen need not to make touches on the ball before he gets involved in this game. His presence alone is enough threat, 1. And 2, if he doesn't play with the ball, if he plays with movement and we get our passes right, we will find a way to split our opponent and get what we want. But unfortunately, he was taken out in the 45 minutes. And from that substitution, when Osimhen was taken out, then things began to fall apart again. Because in the first half itself, when you wanted to start Victor as a lone striker, who do you play with him? So if you were bringing Victor, it should have been a perfect like-for-like situation. Not Akwa Adams for Victor Osimhen. Should have probably been someone as bad as people might want to think Toluwaro Kodare will be. His like-for-like substitution with Victor Osimhen would have been better. At that first instance, when you wanted to make that halftime substitution. But
he came on, and people have described him as a defensive striker.
He came on too eventually, didn't cover himself in glory, because the setup was almost very wrong, because we even made changes on the flanks. Nothing worked. Ejuke came on, Moses Simon came on.
He was playing in our half.
And mostly. He didn't look like anything worked again. So it was all shades of
Moses Simon came on, and
it looked like Moses Simon was only putting his body on the line in that game. We didn't see the kind of flair we will see in Moses Simon. And sincerely, when I saw Samuel Chukwueze in the starting lineup and Ademola Lookman, I felt, why start these two together when this game could have been a kind of game that Moses Simon would have really thrived, especially when the opponent are looking like a tough nut to crack. But then Moses came on too, and it was just all shades of doom and gloom for the entire team. It didn't just nothing clicked in that game. From the bench, from the starting lineup to the bench, nothing clicked in that game, except for the flashes of excellence that we saw in Stanley Nwabali during the penalty shootout. I think that was the only take home. Nwabali had to prove a lot of people wrong. That okay, you might call me into questioning during open play, but then this penalty, I've got it. And if a goalkeeper saves 2 spot kicks out of 5, the players have no business.
He's done his job.
The players have no business not to convert at least 4 of those kicks.
He's done his job.
So he did his job. Perhaps the only one who covered himself in glory last night.
Benjamin Fredericks.
Fantastic.
Left centre back, played as a 2, and his place was always used all night.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. Brilliant.
Very brilliant. And at a point, it looked like he pulled an injury in that game too. we still made substitutions and we left him on the pitch with that condition too. It was so every tactical decision we made was that bad last night. And imagine when we even had to bring someone in, when Tolu Arokodare had to come in for Chidozie Awa's game. William Troost-Ekong is known to be a very good penalty taker. Why not bring him on at that point too, when you know the game was?
Then they brought on Awazim. I actually thought Awazim was going to come to play penalties because at that time, any substitution you are making.
Exactly. So if Awazim was coming in at that particular time and he didn't play any of the first 5 kicks, so why did he come in
at that time?
And why didn't he even replace a Benjamin Frederick that looked injured in the closing stages of the game? So a lot of things just happened as if there was no reasoning when they took those decisions at all.
And Calvin Bassey, is he our starting penalty taker? And it's usually Ekong, Osimhen, they were both.
It's usually Ekong and Osimhen.
I mean, what went wrong like that?
The last time we played penalties was during the 2023 AFCON against South Africa. We saw Ekong, we saw Kelechi. I still remember Kelechi's penalty very well. There was Terem Murphy too.
Yeah, Terem's penalty was the first. He was the first to take, and it was a perfect penalty. So
you look at the composition, then you begin to compare what we saw last night. The moment I saw Calvin Bassey first, I felt like
perhaps
Calvin shoots too high for my liking. Personally.
Yes, he blows the ball. Yes, he always blows the ball.
Then I kind of knew that he was going to take his penalty just the same way he shoots, and he didn't disappoint. Then you begin to wonder, did they even practice penalties,
or they didn't expect it to get penalties,
or they didn't even not expecting a game like that to get into penalties is underrating your opponent. And that is what most players want to say. We are not leaving anything to chance, we are not underrating anything, but not practicing penalties is underrating your opponent.
And they look at the DRC, took out their number 1 goalkeeper and brought in immediately. I didn't know the guy, but I just knew anybody coming in at this time. You are definitely a good guy, and the guy was truly good. Look at just. All right, long and short is that there will be no Super Eagles of Nigeria at the World Cup next year, but we are getting used to it. We didn't attend the last one, and we had the Nigerians. Had a fantastic World Cup. Yeah. We were all supporting that Mbappe or Messi at the finals, and we watched it upstairs the other day. It was perhaps the craziest environment I've ever experienced at work. It was a very sweet day. We were all having fun. We almost did not know that the Super Eagles of Nigeria was not at that World Cup. We've seen lots of videos of celebrities, some people post, and people angry at the Super Eagles. But we'll still watch 2026 World Cup in Canada, in Mexico, and the United States of America. And every day, the people that will not get bonuses and will not have the prestige of playing at the World Cup are the players. So sometimes when these players look like they don't give us their all, we begin to wonder if we do not need to perhaps change a few things, like Biodun has said. The Nations Cup is in about a month's time, and we'll see how far we'll go again. I just hope that they have enough energy and bite to go far, because
as a matter of fact,
what happened?
As a matter of fact, the Nations Cup is the only reason, is the only thing that makes me think that some of these guys should not resign yet.
Let's see what they will do.
Let's just see what they will do at the Nations Cup.
And if they are not giving us hope, they should not go with us into the new year or into the future. People are already saying that people should leave, and we begin to wonder what persons should leave or shouldn't leave. Anyway, moving on very quickly, the only little hope we had at the weekend was that we have our guys making it into the top 3 of Africa's best 3 players, male and female alike.
Yeah.
For male, we most likely know Victor Osimhen will win it.
Of course.
But he's there with Mohamed Salah and Moroccan Achraf Hakimi. Surprisingly, in the female section, Esther Okoronkwo was dropped for 2 Moroccans and Rasheedat Ajibade. Quick one, Biodun. We know what's his name? Victor Osimhen will not win. But will Rasheedat Ajibade win it?
Quite dicey, but I think she is in the best position to win this award. It's been a long way coming. And to think Nigeria dominates that particular award, if you go look at the past winner of the CAF Women's Player of the Year, it's usually been Nigeria. More than half of it have been won by Nigeria. The only
Asisat has won about 8 or so. 6, sorry. So
there was Perpetua Nkocha, there was
Messi
Akide. So it's been a lot of Nigerian dominance in that regard. So I think the time is just perfect for Rasheedat Ajibade, thanks to her WAFCON performance. Although you want to say Esther Okoronkwo had a better tournament.
Exactly, and has even had a post-World Nations Cup fantastic time.
But then there is this thing about influence within African football itself.
Which one is influence again?
No, it is not a written rule. But then, how popular do you become among, not just among the citizens of your country, but even outside, or even outside your country? I think it's one of those things that whoever is voting, whoever those who are voting her, would have thought about. I'm not sure a lot of people outside Nigeria will remember Esther Okoronkwo for about 7 assists and about 2 goals at the WAFCON. They will not remember how instrumental she was, but they will always remember a captain who has gone through age grade around Africa, won a lot of Player of the Match award during the tournament, lifted the trophy, was in the face of everything. So these things, they give some form of mileage in this kind of scenario. And why haven't we even seen players like, why do we even have 2 Moroccans there in the first place too? Why don't we have someone like maybe Barbara Wanda? They didn't have a very good tournament, but at club level too, she's not been doing badly. So but then it still looks very much like a Nigerian award. And Chiamaka Nnadozie too, let's not forget too,
of course, most likely
might win a 3rd
best
goalkeeper of the year award. So but for Victor, apparently he had a good season leading up to this year, but then where you do it matters too. I think that's what is going to make the difference for Achraf Hakimi.
All right, that'll be all for us on the program this afternoon. Not the best of Mondays for supporters and lovers of the Nigerian national team, but like we say in local parlance, we move. A very big thank you to Abiona Adewale for being a part of this package. The biggest of thanks, not just a very big one, but the biggest of thanks belongs to you, our viewers, for watching. Because like I always say, we are here because you are there. Have a fantastic week. Stay out of trouble. And I know we all cannot wait for European club football to be back at the weekend. God bless you guys.